Alright, so let's begin this review of Doki Doki Blue Skies. Doki Doki Blue Skies is a fan-made mod which anyone can download. You can go download it yourself to play. Link in the description. A card should appear on your screen taking you to a playlist of me playing the mod. I live streamed it and I basically played all the routes. Though there are some audio issues with my microphone, so I should warn you about them. Sorry about that, but I couldn't help it at the time. First thing you want to do when you open the game is go to the settings. As a disclaimer, Doki Doki Blue Skies does have some sensitive issues, just like the original Doki Doki Literature Club. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I can't spell them out because this is YouTube. Also, there are some adult scenes, so that's what this censor option is for. If you don't want to see them, click on this and it will blur the scenes. Also, there is an option to skip Halloween. Halloween is basically extra content or filler content for the mod. It doesn't really add much to the main story, and it's the same regardless of which route you picked, but I do suggest playing through it at least once. The gallery contains cutscenes which you've unlocked in the game. I won't show it to you guys because that would, show spoilers. And so let's go back to the main menu. There is no route, however, for Monica in this game, so if you were looking forward to that, sorry to disappoint you. The person who was supposed to write Monica's route basically quit in the middle. Overall, I feel like that's a good thing because what they did with Monica in this mod isn't too great. But there is a very good Sayori, Yuri, and Natsuki route. Natsuki's route isn't exactly as good, but the way I'll structure this is by talking about the general game first and the routes separately. The game starts off much like the original Doki Doki Literature Club. Some dialogue is different, there are some changes, but a lot of it is the same. You use poems to pick whichever girl you want. Monica is not an option. And once the festival is over, the game is committed to one girl, and you are on that route, and you will play that route, and you will get whatever ending you want for that girl. So that's how the game starts out, and now let me discuss the individual routes. Monica does not have an actual route, but if you go to extras, you can see some content which was made for her route, which was never put into the actual game. It's only about an hour worth of content though. And overall, I did not like what they did with Monica in this game again, and let me just show you why. Right, as you can see, they changed Monica's sprite. She faces sideways like the other girls. And while they did a good job with the sprite, the art itself is very good. The thing is, it's kind of unsettling when you're used to Monica facing forward. And the reason they made her face sideways is because, like the other girls, she is not self-aware in this game. Her whole deal in this game is, though she's struggling with being the perfect student, she does not have enough time for herself and is stressed because of the expectations her parents put on her. And while that's a fine route to go down, I feel like the reason most people like Monica was because she was self-aware, and taking that away from her and changing her art kind of takes away from the appeal of Monica, in my opinion. So even if they had a full Monica route, I feel like I still wouldn't have enjoyed it. So yeah, there's not much more to say about Monica in particular. Let's talk about some other route then. So the next route we should talk about is Natsuki's route. I personally did not think they did a good job with Natsuki either. The thing is, they made Natsuki 1 year younger than everyone else, so she is only 17 while all the other characters are 18. In the original Doki Doki Literature Club game, she was also 18 like everyone else, but they made her 17, so she's 1 year behind everyone else. And this sort of limits the game. I think that's why there's no adult scene of her, because she's technically under 18 in the game. And I feel like that was an unnecessary change. It didn't really add anything to the story. It just kind of made it more awkward. On top of that, I found her out to be a bit more confusing than the others, who have one good and one bad ending each. Natsuki's route has a single good ending, but several bad endings in varying degrees of how bad they are. Figuring all of that out is kind of confusing and not as straightforward as I would have liked. Overall, her route still isn't that bad. I just feel like it's not as good as it could be. So after that, let's talk about Sayori's route and Yuri's route. I want to talk about them together because I can't actually say too much about Yuri's route without spoiling a good portion of her route, so I don't want to do that. And overall, I feel like Sayori's route and Yuri's route are the best routes in the game. They are extremely well written, so if you're a fan of either Yuri or Sayori, I feel like you will really enjoy this mod. Regarding the Sayori route, I can say a bit more because most of her issues are the same from the original Doki Doki Literature Club. She is the main character's best friend, and the mod delves more into their friendship and how in the mod they lost contact over several years and how their relationship now develops further. Yuri also has the same issues from the game, but there are some other issues which I really can't talk about once again without spoiling the game. Sayori's issues are also the same from Doki Doki Literature Club. She has some mental health issues. I don't want to say the exact name, once again because of YouTube. So both of their routes have a good ending and a bad ending. The way this works is you are offered various choices throughout their routes, and based on which choices you make, you get either the good or bad ending. I will spoil as little as possible, but if you want Sayori's good ending, remember to make choices which support her. And if you want Yuri's good ending, make choices which let her grow into a more active and more social person. So yeah, overall that's it for the Sayori route and the Yuri route. That's most of the review, but there are some concluding random thoughts which I couldn't fit anywhere else, so let me say them here. First of all, each of the routes is written by a different author. This leads to some inconsistencies in between the routes. There are only minor inconsistencies, but I think you'll notice them. Secondly, the main character actually has an on-screen parent in this game, his mother, but I won't spoil the deal with her either. There's some story behind it. The game also has a couple of original characters. There's the main character's teacher, or at least one of his teachers is given a sprite and some dialogue, as well as two new classmates who we didn't see in the original game. Lastly, I just want to say though that this mod was pretty fun to play, and I do highly recommend it, especially if you like Yuri or Sayori, or even Natsuki. The Natsuki route is pretty good in my opinion, even though it has its drawbacks. And yeah, the Monica route, it's sad it was never finished, but like I said earlier, I think even if it was finished, I still wouldn't really like it that much, objectively speaking, because of how it was written. That said, I kind of understand why they made Monica not self-aware, so it wouldn't interfere with the other girls' stories. But I still would have preferred if on her route she was self-aware, because if you play her bonus content, it plays into the same thing as in the game. She's very stressed out, she has a lot on her plate, and that's her whole character. That said, though, overall, again, the game is very good, and I do recommend, though, that you play it. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Do leave a comment, do leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos on Doki Doki Literature Club. Thanks again for watching.